Welcome back to Normal Baseball. Today, we are continuing our 2023 Will Be series. Today, we got the Baltimore Orioles. Let's get into it. What's going on? Welcome back to Normal Baseball. Today we are continuing our 2023 Will Be Team Projection Series. Today we got the Baltimore Orioles. I'm Alex Normal Dog. That's Lewis. And yeah, we're going to be talking about the Baltimore Orioles today. The Birds, Birdland.
Let's go.
They surprised a lot of people last year. Went 83-79, just missed the playoffs after becoming America's team. Late in the season. Very fun team. Took the baseball world by storm at the end of last season. No one saw that coming.
Yeah, and as every British person has ever said, God save the Orioles.
What is wrong with you?
God save the Orioles.
What is wrong with you?
Just an absolute.
What? An absolute what?
An absolute team from. I don't want to say team from hell.
Why would that be? No, how does that make any sense?
No, an absolute wagon of a team come the second half of the season. Basically from the start of when a few guys who everyone has been looking forward to started performing. And they are definitely a team that I'm excited to watch this season.
Me too. I'm beyond excited to watch this team. So what we did with these projections is to get these power rankings, we took 7 different categories for the teams, and we rated them all, scaled of 1 to 10, added up the scores, put them in order from highest to lowest. According to our calculations, the Orioles were the 13th best team in baseball and the 7th best team in the American League. So yeah, the Baltimore Orioles. How do we think they're gonna do this season? We'll let you know in this episode. We're going to go category by category, explain what we gave them, what score we gave them, and why we gave them that score. Are you ready, Lewis? You want to just hop right into it?
Of course, let's get right into it.
So first of all, their lineup. Did I say the 7 categories? 7 categories are lineup, bench, defense, rotation, bullpen, coaching, energy, and that's it. First of all, we have their lineup, which we gave a 7.3 out of 10. This lineup looks like Cedric Mullins in center field, Adley Rutschman catching, Gunnar Henderson at third base, Anthony Santander in right field, Ryan Mountcastle at first base. They have Kyle Stowers listed at DH. Don't know how accurate that is, but that's what they have and on Fangraphs. Austin Hayes in left field, Adam Frazier at second base, and Jorge Mateo at shortstop. It's certainly a very good lineup when you look at how young it is and just like what kind of team they are in general. I think a lot has to go right, though, for them to kind of outperform our expectations at this point.
All right, yeah, I can understand that. However, I do want to just say really quickly that if anyone ever had questions about, baseball's kind of BS, like, all the good players just leave teams and it's like no one really stays with their team. The Baltimore Orioles, 6 out of their 9 guys in their starting lineup have all been developed and drafted by the Baltimore Orioles.
Well,
which is absolutely amazing. Of course, yes, you can say, yes, they're still on their rookie
deal. They can't
But
leave.
it's shocking that they didn't trade them before that.
Is it shocking?
It is.
You think they were going to trade Adley Rutschman?
I'm not saying when he was approaching getting towards being like, that absolute beast that we know him as now, but
no, I got you.
I'm shocked earlier in his minor league career he was not traded. A bunch of these guys,
but
especially with when you have guys in the league like the Dodgers, like the Rays, who really know how to develop talent at such a young age, when you just think, oh, whatever, I need a mid reliever, let me go, so what if you want some guy like a Austin Hayes, okay, take him. And it's just impressive, and I'm happy to see a very homegrown team.
Yeah, no, it's always the teams with the young guys who kind of have a smaller beginning, and the new guys, the exciting guys, and yeah, a lot of these guys were brought up by the Orioles. Cedric Mullins, Adley Rushman, obviously, Gunnar Henderson, obviously, number one overall prospect in baseball. Um, you got Kyle Stowers, who do I know much about him? No, not at
Probably
all.
not.
Ryan Mountcastle, Austin Hayes. They did not trade. They did sign Adam Frazier this offseason. I believe it's a 1 year, like $2 million deal. Nothing crazy.
So 1 year, $8 million.
1 year, $8 million deal. Nothing crazy. Not my favorite signing, if I'm being honest. Wasn't great last season.
Could he have a bounce back year though?
Yeah, no, I was about to say that. I think he can have a good season, so I'm excited to see what he can do. Jorge Mateo's another guy who I love looking at. I love seeing how he's doing. I love watching.
Absolutely love Jorge Mateo content whenever it pops up on my social media feeds.
Yeah, I think the two that I'm most excited about are Adley and Gunnar.
Yep.
Because they are the two young guys. They're the two prospects. I mean, Adley came up last season and took the world by storm pretty much, with all his hits and just leadership, bringing this team. Did he have 40 doubles last season? He had a lot of doubles last season. I'm excited to see if Gunnar Henderson can follow that up with a
He had 35 doubles last season.
almost 40 doubles last season. I'm excited to see if Gunnar Henderson can follow up Adley's performance as a rookie and be just as good. Because he is the number one overall prospect in baseball, so we are expecting something from him.
Yes.
Adley, I'm expecting a big season from him. I'm expecting a very big season from him, and if I don't get it, I will be very disappointed. I just want to say that now. I am expecting big, big, big things from Adley this season. Cedric Mullins is another guy who has been a part of this lineup for a couple of years. Last season, bit of a down year.
Compared to his 2021, yes.
Worst full season of his career. But then again, this is also, if you don't count the shortened season in 2020, it was only the second full season of his career.
Mm-hmm.
But his numbers did go down significantly. So I'd like to see him get those numbers back up in terms of the counting stats. I mean, he had 30 He went 30 for 30 in 2021. But he only had 16 homers in 2022. So I'd like to see him get back to where he was in 21. I think that would be a big, big, big plus for this team.
Yeah, I agree with you. Cedric, although he, unlike years past where he was the power, he was the engine of the offense, now he sort of can take his foot off the gas, but I do think that he still needs to keep his production high if he wants to help his team win and impact how good the team gets over the course of the season.
That's fair.
Yep.
That's very fair. I think this whole team in general, this whole lineup, they're going to have to go out there and play like dogs every day, and they're going to have to want it, and they're going to have to play hard to get those victories, because I don't think this team is just going to run into wins. This team is going to fully have to earn their wins. Not to say the better teams just find wins, but you can tell when a team is like, yeah, I'm not surprised when this team wins like that many straight and everything. This team, they got to go out there and they got to play as hard as they can. If they get hot, they're going to get hot. It's a very much team environment, at least to me. When I look at the lineup, that's what I think of. A lot of team environment stuff.
Okay, I can understand that. I think that we're going to see a very different lineup than what Fangraph shows. Just because when you do look at the middle of their lineup, especially Kyle Stowers, I think he won't be starting DH. I think what they should do, in my opinion, is put Adam Frazier at DH and then Ramon Arias at second. I feel like that would just make the most sense because another younger guy who definitely could help contribute more. That's what I personally think. But it wouldn't surprise me if this was the exact lineup come opening day.
Yeah, it depends. I feel like it depends on who they're playing and everything. I don't think they got Adam Frazier to DH him. Don't think that's what they had in mind. They want him in the field. He is a second baseman. They're not just going to have him DH, especially because he's not a power bat.
Yep.
Like, you get him for the glove as well. You're not just getting him for the DH. So I think they will be splitting time. There's a lot of different ways they can construct this lineup in terms of the guys on their bench and everything, which, speaking of their bench, we gave their bench a 6.7 out of 10. Their bench, James McCann, who will be their backup catcher to
Mets all-time
Adley
great.
Rutschman. Mets legend James McCann, backup to Adley. Ramon Arias, who Lewis just mentioned as going to be playing second a lot, or DHing. He's going to be in that lineup a lot, so not necessarily a full bench piece. Terran Vavra, not too familiar with him. Going to be honest, not on my board whatsoever.
Neither am I.
I'll look into him in a minute. And Ryan McKenna, who's an outfielder, righty. Not bad. I like James McCann on their bench. I think that's what brings the bench up for me, kind of boosts it up. Yeah. Same thing with, based on Fangraphs, Ramon Arias being on that bench kind of boosts it up for me too, because Ramon Arias is a really good player when he's playing.
The only concern that I have is, although the Orioles do now have James McCann on the roster, I remember when they first signed him, they were doing, I think it was the GM or the manager, Brandon Hyde, was doing a press conference where he had mentioned that, there's a possibility that James McCann and Adley Rutschman split time between catcher and DH, which I beg, I will do absolutely anything in my power to tell anybody in that Orioles organization, you do not take Adley away from being the backstop. There's just no way. I think that they were just saying that because James McCann is a veteran who they see as deserving of a spot, but let's be honest, there's no place for him in the lineup currently. So please just
I also
Orioles keep Adley Rutschman there.
I think it depends on who's pitching too. Like, different guys pitch to different catchers.
Yeah,
that is a very realistic thing. Especially when you got guys like Kyle Gibson and Cole Irving, who they picked up in different ways that we'll talk about. Different guys like throwing to different catchers. So it does depend on that. I don't know the full details of which pitcher likes to throw to what catcher. I don't know if even Orioles fans know that quite yet. But I think that is kind of why they say that he'll be splitting time almost. Like, it just depends on who's pitching that day. But I don't know. As long as Adley's in the lineup, I think I'll be okay. I agree. I would rather have him behind the plate, like as a backstop, as the catcher, because that's what he's going to be for the next however many years for the Orioles.
Hopefully a long time.
They might as well have him playing there a bunch, which he still will be. So I'm not too worried about it.
Yep.
Do we want to move on to their pitching now? I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, of course. Let's jump right in. Well, do we want to do defense?
Oh, defense. We'll do defense first. Their defense, we gave them a 6.9 out of 10. Nice. Good defense. Cedric Mullins, Adley Rutschman, very good defenders. Gunnar Henderson was a good defender last season in the games he played. I think he had a couple issues, but nothing like that can't be fixed. Nothing major. He's only 21. Let's keep that in mind. But Cedric and Adley, two very good defenders. Santander has a good arm, I believe. He's not like an amazing defender. Same thing with Mountcastle, but Mountcastle's a first baseman. He's just he's a decent first baseman.
Yeah.
Adam Frazier is a good defenseman. Mateo is good at defense. It's a very solid defensive team.
Yeah, the only thing that worries me that honestly kept me from saying from putting in a higher number on my end, Austin Hayes in left field, because they moved that wall back, I think it was 24 feet, and raised it up by like 16 feet or something like that. It's so much more ground to cover that not even some of the best left fielders in baseball can really play that little nook really well. And Austin Hayes is going to have to play half of his games there. So I don't know. I feel like that's just going to affect him a lot because it's a difficult position to play.
Yeah,
but compared to the old Camden, right?
Comparatively, of course, because the wall is closer.
Right.
But I think he'll be fine. I don't think it's going to make that much. I don't think you're going to be able to be like, oh, he would have caught that. Of course he would have caught it if the wall was in further, It's more of just running further to get the ball if it gets hit that way.
And Austin Hayes is not the most mobile guy on
the field. No, I get that. I get that. But yeah, Austin Hayes is the one guy for you, I guess. I don't know. I think it's a solid defense all around.
Yeah,
Like you
definitely.
said, with that wall move back, yes, you can make the arguments for Austin Hayes, but at the same time, they're not going to go out and get another guy just because they move the wall back and there's a chance it gets hit over his head once in a while. But yeah, that's their defense. Now let's get to their pitching. I do have some things to say about their pitching, considering the team they have. Their starting rotation, we gave it a 6.6 out of 10. I personally think it was a little generous. Kyle Gibson, they picked up as a free agent this offseason. Last year with the Phillies, pitched pretty good. Nothing crazy good, but again, he was a pretty big part of that Phillies team, that Phillies rotation. 31 games started last season, had a 5.05 ERA. So not great, but like I said, he still was a part of that Phillies rotation. They used him a lot. That's what kind of veers me away from liking this rotation. Like their one starter is very so iffy. And it's the same thing with the Cole Irving. Like every single one of these guys, Cole Irving they got in trade with the Athletics. Every single one of these guys feels like iffy. The only one who's listed, Grayson Rodriguez, that I don't know how he's going to be because he hasn't made his MLB debut yet.
Yep.
He's the 17th best prospect in baseball, according to Fangraphs. He's the third in the Orioles system. But hopefully he'll be up for opening day. Obviously, he's not starting opening day. Who starts opening day for this team? Kyle Gibson? Like, that's...
Who starts opening day for this team?
You can't tell me. No matter what, it's funny because no matter what name you say to me, I'm going to say, yeah, their rotation is not that good.
I feel like if he's available and ready, it should be Grayson Rodriguez. Just fully bring it all in. I think Grayson Rodriguez is more than ready for the major leagues, and there's no better time to start him than literally the first game of the season.
You're getting outlandish. Yeah. That is never going to happen. That is... there's no way. They're
if
not
I'm the manager, I start Grayson Rodriguez opening day.
Yes, but you're also not the manager. There's a reason you're not a manager.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
They did contact me and ask, but I'd
hate
to pull that job away from such a great manager like Brandon Hyde.
They did not.
Anyways.
It's going to be Kyle Gibson, and I'm going to look at it and be like, that's disgusting.
Fair enough.
With the lineup this team has, and the young core and the lineup, you could have gotten better pitching this offseason. There was options out there.
But the problem is...
And they went with Kyle Gibson and Cole Irving. Yeah, they're the Orioles. Orioles...
But they were in, funny enough, on Rodon up until the point where it got over, I believe it was like the $130 million mark, which the Orioles started really low, and the Carlos Rodon camp entertained the idea of going to the Orioles on a shorter deal so that way the Orioles could keep it below like whatever their maximum number is that they were willing to spend, which would have made this rotation look a lot better. But of course, Rodon wound up going to the Yankees on a much more expensive deal, which put them out of the running. But it's interesting to see that the Orioles did try to nab what I think we could call the best starting pitcher on the market at the time. Because Verlander signed early?
Yes, yeah. No, I agree. And I do think it's a good sign that they tried to nab him, but that's the issue.
They didn't.
You can't nab someone like that. You can't just, like, swoop in with your low offer and just hope that he accepts. Like, that's not how it works at the end of the day. The bigger teams are going to come in and grab those big free agents. Like, you can't just put out a low number and hope that it works out, you know?
Yeah,
but
I agree.
That it's just not a good rotation. In my opinion, like it could be towards the end of the season, depending on how Grayson Rodriguez pans out, depending on how he plays, even if he does start opening day, you still got to pitch Kyle Gibson every 5 games. You still got to pitch Cole Irvin every 5 games. And they lost Jordan Lyles, a guy who was one of their best starters last season.
Yeah, blown away that they didn't even, they never even tried to reach an agreement with him on getting him extended. And he goes to the Royals, I think, on it's like
2-year deal.
2-year, $17 million deal. That's nothing. The Orioles definitely should have been in that conversation. They should have at least tried to match that and say, come back to what you're familiar with. But no, they let him go with no strings attached.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of their rotation, personally.
All right. That's fine. And
you're high on it?
And when Kyle Gibson wins Cy Young, I want this clip to be circulated everywhere.
If Kyle Gibson wins Cy Young, I'll do a backflip. I'll learn a backflip and I'll do a backflip if he wins the AL Cy Young. I'll shake on that. I'll pinky promise on that.
No, that's cool though. If you do a backflip.
No.
If Kyle Gibson wins the Cy Young, you have to spend the next month of your life only watching the Orioles. Yep. No. Whenever you want to watch baseball, instead of turning on the Mets, instead of turning on the Astros, instead of turning on one of those top end teams,
also if he wins,
turn on the Orioles. Turn on the Orioles.
Boreals? Do you just call them boring?
No. The Baltimore Orioles.
Also.
B.Orioles.
Also, if you win Cy Young, the season's over. So.
No, the next baseball month of your life. Just Orioles, James.
All right, shut up. Okay, so their bullpen, we gave them a 7.4 out of 10.
Yep.
I honestly think that might be low. I mean, low.
I think it's pretty fair, pretty accurate, in my opinion.
There's an argument for it. Felix Bautista, I love Felix Bautista.
Oh, well, time out. Before we get into the bullpen, John Means should be coming back, hopefully right before the All-Star break.
Oh, yeah, we should have said that.
Yeah. He underwent Tommy John surgery in, I believe, April?
That helps out.
April of last year. So hopefully he'll be coming back just in time for his age 30 season, where, I mean, last we saw him pitch, he was very, very good. So I'm hoping that he comes back and really solids up the rotation for Alex.
Yes. He needs to come back for that rotation to be a little bit better, and for me to agree with our 6.6 rating. That's with John Means in there.
Okay.
That I would agree with. This bullpen, though, Felix Bautista is an absolute dog.
Yep.
I love Felix Bautista after literally only a year of watching him. He is amazing.
His closer entrance
is
pretty
amazing.
Pretty solid.
Tyler Wells was good last year, I believe. Michael Givens, they got right back in free agency after trading him to the Mets last season.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Mets moment. Keegan Aiken has been decent. It's a very good bullpen last season. They had the 9th best ERA, bullpen ERA in baseball. 13th best whip. 4th best walks per 9. They didn't strike too many guys out, but you know, the ERA numbers and the whip numbers is not bad at all. I think it's very deserving of the, what did we get, 7.4? I think it's very deserving of that.
Yep, I completely agree. As for their next little column, their next part that we graded them on, their coaching. 9.1.
Yeah, Brandon Hyde. Manager of the year.
Manager of the year. Forever and always.
That's really all I have to say. Brandon Hyde is a very good manager, bringing this team to how good they've been.
Yep. Brandon Hyde was he made, I felt like,
and it's not just Brandon Hyde.
No,
it's not the rest of their coaches too.
Yeah, everybody. Round of applause for the whole coaching staff of the Baltimore Orioles.
Do I know them all? No, not at all.
Couldn't name a single one besides Brandon Hyde, but I trust them, I believe in them, and I think that they're going to do great things to help Kyle Gibson win a Cy Young this season.
The last stat category, was energy. We gave them an 8.7 out of 10. I think that's fair. I mean, this team, Adley, Gunnar, how young this team is, they are going to be electric. People are going to want to watch them. Hopefully they have that America's team vibe again this year. Yeah. And just come out absolutely swinging, coming for everyone, wanting to win every single game as much as possible. That's what I want to see from the Orioles. 8.7.
Yeah, and a massive part of that that energy, that electricity factor. Felix Bautista's entrance, amazing. All the lights go out, and you just hear the whistle. Right? Is he the whistle?
Yep.
Yeah, you just hear the whistle, and that is just I watched the clips of it online, and I get chills. It's like that's exciting, and that brings just a whole nother aspect to the game. If I'm in the other dugout, I'm thinking, yeah, no way we're touching this guy.
No, I agree. It's all about the fear factor.
And to think they traded away Jorge Lopez. This bullpen will look so much better even if they had Jorge Lopez still.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
That's about it.
The bullpen's fun, team's fun, starters Not my favorite. But the lineup is very fun. Young guys. I'm going to be rooting for them all season. Lewis, you got any rookie report?
Of course. I mean, obviously, the Orioles came in here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players coming in on MLB.com's top 100 prospects of the MLB within the MLB's pipeline system. You know, they have 8 players here. One of them being, of course, the number 1 overall prospect, Gunnar Henderson, which we touched on. The number 7 overall prospect, Grayson Rodriguez. 2 in the top 10. Oh my God. Jackson Holiday, the guy that they just drafted was it last year?
Last year, yeah.
Yeah, last year is 12th already because he has such a high ceiling. But the guy that I want to look at, because I think that this is kind of his year, DL Hall. I believe this season he might be on the injured list to start the year, but I'm not 100% sure. He's like a reliever. He's like a left-handed reliever for the most part. Last year in high A ball, double A, and triple A, he pitched to a 4.48 ERA, which is a little bit high, but you have to remember that most of the time he is a reliever. So
DL Hall, they have him listed as a starter.
They have him listed as a starter. Okay, well, he could do a little bit of both, but even then, a 4.48, not too showing of who he is. Definitely think that can be lowered a lot, especially in the majors, whereas he had a 209 batting average against with a whip of 1.39 in 84 innings pitched last season across 3 different leagues. I think that he's going to get a shot at some point, whether it be bullpen or starting this season, and I'm excited to watch him pitch.
Yeah, he was in 11 games last season, only started one of them, so we don't really know what they're going to do with him yet.
Yeah, but however, if you are looking to just hear who I think would be the rookie of the year for each team, Gunnar Henderson, and it's not close. The guy's an absolute stud. He'll be in the lineup opening day. He'll hold his own. And I think that those 35 games that he played in last season in the majors, I think will just help him, and he's going to come over the entire league by storm. He's going to just attack it, and I'm excited.
I love it. Yep. I love it. Now we'll do MVP, hitter, and pitcher for this team. Lewis, who will be the MVP hitter for the Baltimore Orioles?
Cut and dry, Adley Rutschman.
I agree, Adley Rutschman.
Yep.
And then who will be the MVP pitcher for this team?
Grayson Rodriguez.
I'm going with Felix Bautista.
Okay.
Lights out closer. I'm a big fan of my lights out closers.
Of course, quite literally.
Big fan.
Yep.
But yeah. So now we do the fun part. I'm gonna say the 2023 Orioles will be in, and you will tell me what place you think they'll be in the American League East next season. Lewis, the 2023 Baltimore Orioles will be in
third place.
Third place.
In the AL East.
As much as it hurts me to say, I'm gonna go with fourth place.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair. Do I think that means it's not gonna be close? No, I think it's gonna be a very close race all season. But I do have them in fourth place. Their projected wins is 80. So they're projected to go 80 and 82. I think they will have more than 80 wins. I think they're going to go above 500.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think they'll be in fourth place, which is crazy, a fourth place team being above 500. So
all right.
I'm excited for the Orioles this year.
I think they squeak out 92 wins.
92, wow.
92. I'm riding high. The Kyle Gibson Cy Young season has officially started. And I'm just looking forward to watching this team play because it's going to be a show.
It is. It's definitely going to be a show. That's all we could say.
Yep.
Whether it's going to be a good one or a bad one, we'll have to wait.
Out.
We'll have to wait to find out.
Certainly.
But thank you guys for listening. Remember, if you're an Orioles fan, you know your team better than we do.
Let's go O's, baby.
Let's go O's.
Let's go O's.
Let's go O's. We love you guys. Thank you guys for listening, commenting, liking, sharing, subscribing, following, sharing again. And we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Birdland.